Tecno Camon 20 Premier is a complete overhaul of the Tecno Camon series in my opinion. Now there are a few changes that have been made here and there, some for good while some are not so good. First of all, let's start with the design choice here. Instead of going with a traditional glass back design like you would expect, they have chosen to go with a leather back design. Now the design have these cut patterns that is not so bad. The advantage of using a leather back design instead of glass or plastic is leather is more durable and it won't crack or break like plastic or glass. Also, the frame of the device is actually made in plastic and it's glossy. It's very slippery as well. Even though the back of the device is not slippery, the device could still slip off your hand because of the slippery edges. The overall design is boxy, giving off the iPhone 14 vibes or the S23 vibes kind of. This is actually a trending design and all the big players like Apple and Samsung are using it. So I guess Tecno decided not to be left out. There is also the funny looking camera bump at the back, which I honestly don't know how I feel about. We'll come back to that later on in the video. Inside the box, we'll get the Camon 20 Premier itself. Then we're going to get this nice looking case, which honestly you can just use without going to buy a new case. Then there is a 45 watt charger inside the box, which is good to see that Tecno phones still come with chargers inside the box. Somebody should show this video to Samsung and Apple. You get USB-C headphones and you also get the USB-C cable. At the bottom of the Tecno Camon 20 Premier, you will find the SIM tray which takes up 2 SIM cards with no space for an SD card, which honestly you might not need for this device. I'll tell you more about that later on in the video. At the bottom of the Tecno Camon 20 Premier, there is a USB-C port and a down-firing speaker. At the top of the device, there is a second speaker and a microphone outlet as well. I'm sure at this point you'll be asking yourself where is the headphone jack because I've not mentioned it. You can't see it because for the first time, Tecno has eliminated the headphone jack from the Camon series. Another big upgrade here is in the display of the Tecno Camon 20 Premier. Tecno went with an AMOLED display this time instead of a regular IPS panel that you'd expect. This display also supports 120Hz refresh rate, and you are given the option to step it down to either 90 or 60Hz if you want to preserve some battery. I won't even lie, this is the first time I've used a Tecno phone with a high refresh rate that actually feels like a high refresh rate. And it's quite smooth when you're scrolling through pages and when you're performing your daily activities on the phone. Always on display is also available here, but the feature is not turned on by default when you start using the device for the first time. You will have to go to personalization under settings and enable always on display. You are also given the liberty to personalize the always on screen to your liking. There are a few downsides about this display that I have noticed. The display is not so bright by 2023 standard. Even indoors, the brightness is not what you would expect. So they have added this mode called high brightness mode in the settings. When you are outdoor, you can turn on this mode and this will forcefully increase the brightness of the display so that you can see it better. But above all, this is a completely flat 6.6 inch Super AMOLED display that is quite vibrant with the hole punch selfie cutout. The display is almost bezel-less, which is nice to see. Well done Tecno. The battery on the Tecno Camon 20 Premier is a 5000 mAh all-day battery. For instance, yesterday I left the house at about 8 AM, used the device all day and I still came back around 7 PM with about 30% battery left, which was quite impressive. The device also supports 45 watts fast charging. The Tecno Camon 20 Premier is running on the MediaTek Dimensity 8050 chipset. Now this chipset might not be able to give you that flagship performance like the Dimensity 9000 that runs on the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro, but it still holds the line. This phone is super fast, mostly for gaming. It handles my favorite games like Call of Duty just fine. And for day-to-day activities, you won't even have any issues using this device. At least I've not had any issues so far. And the storage on this phone is so much that you won't even need an SD card. You have 512GB internal storage and 8GB of RAM. And that RAM can be expanded to 16GB via the memory fusion technology. From the box, the Tecno Camon 20 Premier runs on Android 13 with the Tecno iOS skin on top. Now Tecno has been making efforts over the years to clean up iOS, and iOS is actually becoming cleaner. But it still comes with a lot of bloatwares. Thankfully, now unlike before, you'll be able to uninstall some of these bloatwares. But some of the ones you cannot uninstall are bloatwares like Phoenix Browser, which has been really annoying. Like sometimes I drop my phone before I come, I'll see so many notifications. So I think I'll have to find a way to stop it from functioning at all. The Tecno Camon 20 Premier has this very big camera bump at the back, which honestly, I'm not really feeling it. But that's not the point of focus. The point of focus is actually the lenses. The main lens here is a 50 megapixel lens, and then you have a 108 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. That is the largest wide angle lens I think I have seen in a phone. The lenses also support optical image stabilization and laser autofocus. The camera can shoot videos in 4K at 30 frames per second, and it can also shoot 1080p videos at 60 frames per second. The selfie camera is a 32 megapixel wide angle lens, which can shoot 2K videos at 30 frames per second. So I think enough of all these specs on paper. Come, let's go out there, let's go and take pictures, and let's see what the pictures will look like.